I've had several requests for shellac application, so we're going to go through the steps on a nail. And you would of course do your hand sanitizing with cool blue after you and your client have washed your hands. Then we're going to come in and do the shaping of the nail. The only prep that you need before a shellac is basically pep instead of prep, because there's not any file work needed on the surface of the nail plate, just for the shaping. So I'm just making sure that this nail has some shape, working with what I have, of course, and making sure there's no fringe left underneath to catch product, and then making sure the edge isn't sticking up. The next thing we're going to do is cuticle away, and you just want to apply 1 drop per nail, and you can go through and do this part on all 10 nails at once. You want to make sure that you're spreading your cuticle away with your tool, not using your thumb or your finger, and by the time you have that applied to all 10 fingers, you're going to be ready to go. So then just come in with your pusher and run that gently over the entire nail plate, making sure that you're going back to but not beyond the eponychium. This is going to pick up the cuticle that's in the center of the nail plate, maybe along the sides, and loosen it up for removal. After the pusher, we're going to come in for a meticulous manicure with the curette, and just using little sweeping C's around the edges and in the corners, because cuticle really likes to hide in those corners and lateral folds. And you can see, even though I ran over this nail with a pusher, that curette is still really picking up some cuticle. So it's kind of like a cuticle power tool. I just run the curette until I don't feel it catching on any more new cuticle. It feels like that nail plate is nice and smooth. And I'm going to remove that with water. So I'm just going to take a spray bottle, spray that off with water, use a towel to come in and scrub the nail clean. And then I have a nice clean nail plate with my even shape. So then I'm ready to come in with scrub fresh. Just a little bit of scrub fresh on a plastic back pad. And I'm really going to scrub with that scrub fresh like I'm trying to remove red polish. Get in there and clean those corners and those lateral folds. As well as the free edge. Then of course I like to go in and do a quick fuzzy check. Then we're going to start with the shellac. So you can see that really there is no filing on the surface of that nail. We're ready to come right in with the base coat. I'm going to open that up. You want to apply the base coat really thin. So you can see that my brush really doesn't have a lot of product on it. I'm going to lay that very neatly, making sure that I seal the free edge. And you just want to make sure that you've got that nice and smooth up against your edges, staying away from the skin just like you would with a base coat of polish. You can see that's nice and thin on the nail. And if you happen to notice any areas of pooling, like if you would have a ski jump nail and maybe some pools here in the center, all you would have to do is go back through and pull off any of that excess, just like this. Then the base coat is going to go in the UV lamp for 10 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and demo a French. That seems to be the most requested. So I'm going to use negligee. I want to lay down the pink layer first, because if I should need to come in and clean up my smile line at all, I want to be sure that I'm not wiping away any of my base coat when I'm cleaning that up. So that's why I'm going to come in and do a layer of the pink first. Making sure once again to cap my free edge. And making sure that I have nice, thin coverage. You can see that there's not a lot of product on the brush, so that I get nice, thin coverage on the nail. And that's going to go in for 2 minutes. Once the pink has been in for 2 minutes, we're ready for the white. I'm going to use cream puff, because I'm going for a traditional French look. I'm going to clean my brush off really, really well, so that I don't have a lot of white sitting in my brush. So you can see here, there's not a lot of white in that brush. I've really cleaned it out really well. And I'm going to come in and polish the French on. And you can apply your French whites however you normally would apply polish. So it's totally your personal preference when it comes to laying this down. And it really does lay down like polish. And I want to make sure that that edge is sealed. Now it's a little bit thick. You can kind of see it has a little bit of a bulb look to it. So I'm going to clean my brush out even more so that there's not any product on the end of my brush, and just pull some of that excess off. And now I have much thinner, smoother coverage. If you should get it on the skin, as I have in this corner, just take an orange wood stick and clean that up before you cure. You can see that this is very, very thin. It lays nice and smooth. The white is going to go in for 2 minutes. After the white is cured for 2 minutes, we're going to come in with the top coat. If you had wanted to touch up the smile line of your white, you could use a dry, clean gel brush. The top coat, I have some on my brush, but not a lot. Notice that there's just a little bit down at the edge of the brush. And I'm going to come in just as if I were polishing with top coat, covering up that back edge, sweeping down around the sides, making sure that I'm sealing the free edge. And just to be on the safe side, I like to look at it down the barrel and make really sure that I've got that free edge sealed. And then come back over the top and smooth it. The top coat does have some ridge filling properties, so that you'll notice there's not a hump between your pink and your white. If we turn it sideways, see how it's a smooth transition from the pink to the white. If it had been your preference to soften the white, you could lay another layer of pink. My preference is to have that white. So we're going to go in the lamp for another 2 minutes. Once your shellac comes out of the lamp from having cured the top coat for 2 minutes, you're ready to scrub the inhibition layer off the surface. And we're going to use 99% pure isopropyl alcohol. And I'm really making sure that I get in those sides and those edges and get all of that sticky layer off. Cleaning up the end here. Then I'm going to come in and of course apply solar oil before I send my client out the door. And massage that in. Of course, letting my clients know the ingredients and benefits of solar oil as I'm massaging it in case they should need to take it home with them today. And your client is ready at that moment to walk out the door. She can even dig in her purse for her keys. And so I'm going to come in with my car keys. See? And even if I turn it with this edge, nothing. Can you see that I'm scratching it? So really, they could dig in their purse for their car keys, they could go to the bathroom, they could put their shoes and socks on, whatever the case may be. The shellac truly has 0 dry time. Enjoy, and happy shellacking!